this?
Dream about you, baby. I had a dream, it's gonna come true. They think that we're through, but baby, you'll be swell, you'll be great. Gonna have the whole world on a plate. Start here, start now, honey, everything's coming up roses. Feel the next, feel the cracks. You got nothing to do but relax.
Yeah, well, everyone's sat, so it's fine.
I never thought. Is that working?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Yes, it is now. I never thought I would interrupt that particular piece of music. Hello, welcome to the VITO Project. How fabulous to have such a full house. My name is Neil Bartlett, and I have the pleasure of emceeing this evening. So if you haven't been before, this is how it works. I have 1 or 2 parish notices, and then our darling guests, who I'm going to introduce in just a moment, are going to talk briefly about this marvellous film that we're going to watch together tonight, just to get your minds racing. Then we're going to watch the movie. And I don't know what house policy is going to be on unison mass chorus speaking of certain famous lines. Just go with the flow. International sign language is always appreciated, you all know. And then, after the movie, quick pee break, and then we come back together to talking being led by a fabulous guest, to talk about what we've just seen and what we feel about it. So tonight's guests are the very fabulous Miss Lamé and the very fabulous Eoin Kelly. Eoin is from Cork in Ireland, and now works as a museum conservator. And Lamé probably needs no introduction, but is, well, she's notorious as an entertainer, broadcaster, and all-round fabulous bringer of joy into people's lives, especially at the Royal Vauxhall Tavern. So the VITO Project. The VITO Project is the love child of 2 organisations. Reshape, which is a think tank dedicated to helping us think anew and afresh about the ongoing sexual health crisis and general social malaise of the queer community in London, and the very fabulous Cinema Museum, in whose weird and wonderful world we are now sitting. The idea was a bunch of us in Reshape and around Reshape were talking about why isn't there a safe queer social space where especially people of different queer denominations and queer generations could be together and talk about what we love, where we've been, how we're doing, and where we're heading. So we thought, let's create that space, and we're now in it. Parish notices, you will have been given a slip of paper which empowers you to help choose the movie we're going to watch in August. Please fill in that piece of paper. It's just ticking boxes. I know you will be pulverised by the movie, but tick away and just leave that piece of paper on your seat. We're going to round those up and decide, using your responses, what movie we're going to watch in August. The other thing to say is that this event is unfunded, and we have costs, especially to advertise it and keep spreading the word. There will be, at the end of the evening, buckets being rattled. Sean, stand up and demonstrate what a queer bucket looks like. Okay? It's very tragically empty, but if you put one of these in it, or even 3 of those in it, yeah, and if everyone's like that, we can invite more people to share this fabulous experience.
Don't worry, go right ahead.
So please do that, okay? Right. I'm going to invite lovely Amy and lovely Eoin to talk briefly about what they feel about this movie. Who's going to go first? Is this on? Eoin.
I just, every time I see this movie, I feel I get something more from it. And I think the script is obviously just so dense and so dazzling. But I think actually the production code did it favour, because it almost forced the scriptwriter to be so clever that he was adding a subplot and layers and multi-layers to dialogue. And I also think as a designer, it's actually not a very visual film, it's a very verbal film. So I look at the sets and I look at the backgrounds, and they're actually very subtle and very underplayed. And it's like the characters are actually highlighted there, and the dialogue is as well. And I think it could almost work as a radio play. It's just very, very oral as an experience. And I even think it helps the characterization. I noticed like Eve's voice actually changes throughout the movie. So you could actually just listen to it purely as an oral experience. Though the pet scans are actually fabulous also. So it's got that added bonus too.
Well, thank you for inviting me, Neil and James. And it's great to be back at the Cinema Museum. And All About Eve is one of those films that I think, probably like many of you here, I've seen several times over the years, but I never ever get tired of it. And it's because of that script that you mentioned, and just the sheer brilliance of it, as well as, watching it again last week in preparation for tonight. I thought, this is a film that very much makes me feel at home. The claustrophobic nature of the dressing room is very much like the Royal Vauxhall Tavern dressing room. And I don't know, it's just, it feels like there's a lot of familiar things in it to me, also because of the one-liners. And those one-liners are, if you've not seen the film before, you will recognize them because they are part and parcel of every drag queen's witty repartee that is ever taken to the stage, which is just glorious to see it delivered by the originator, really, and with such style and bitchiness, really. But I think Neil and I were talking earlier that this film wouldn't survive on bitchiness alone. It's because the film really has a heart that it's so successful. Now, the reason why this film is being programmed, some might think, oh, it's a camp classic, which it is. But also, there are lesbian undertones. I don't know what that means. Which is funny, really, because you really need lesbian X-ray specs to pick out the lesbian bits. And I've seen it quite a few times, and it was only the last time when I was really looking for the lesbian bits, and I thought, oh yeah, okay, maybe. But you will see. So I'd like for everyone to keep those lesbian X-ray specs on during the show, and so that we can talk about it after the show to see if you spot the lesbian bits that I was missing all these years, but then recently found. So, I think the other thing about the sort of lesbian theme, I mean, you mentioned about the strict regulations about what was able to be put in films, which is perhaps, we know the reason why this subtext is very much a subtext and very subtle, in my opinion. And so whether you think Eve is a lesbian, you have to tell me at the end. I think she's just somebody who will fuck anybody to get what she wants, which makes her very queer. But whether she's specifically a lesbian is another matter. So we can discuss that after the show. Just enjoy the film, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I do.
Thank you both, Eoin and Lamé. I think now, with our lesbian X-ray specs on, and all other queer cultural faculties at Kimbo, let's watch the movie. Thank you.